Greetings YouTube, time for another bargain video, and today's is going to begin with media. I actually don't know if I have any segments from downstairs or not this time. I guess I'll find out when I add them in. We have 3 issues of Squirrel Girl. I picked this one up initially because I never read any Squirrel Girl, and it had green gorillas in the cover, and I'm like, awesome! Except there were no green gorillas in the comic. I was very disappointed. It was just an homage to the classic 50s era science fiction films. But the comic was very entertaining, and I thought it was quite well written. So I happened to go back to the same thrift shop, and they had some more issues. So these are not in consecutive order, but I just wanted to get myself exposed to some of the Squirrel Girl story. So I may look for a bound issue of Squirrel Girl at some point in the future. Then we have Hell Yeah, which is a comic based on the concept of being a teenager raised in a world where superheroes are real and what happens. I picked it up at a thrift shop for $3. I don't know much about it other than the blurb in the back and some in the artwork, but it looked interesting. This one is called The Answer, and one of the people involved in this was also involved in the production of Battle Pug, which is wonderful. So I thought I'd give that a shot. Then we have Going Clear, Scientology, Hollywood, and the Prison of Belief by Lawrence Wright. And this is about one man's search into the truth about Scientology, which amazes me that I don't even know if he's still alive or they've issued a fatwa upon him and have they sentenced him to death by now. Then we have Lankmar, City of Adventure. I purchased that for someone else. We have Barlow's Guide to Extraterrestrials, which I also purchased for someone else. Then we have Darth Vader and Son and Darth Vader's Little Princess. I picked these up just to give them a read. My wife to give them a read, and I'll probably give them to some kid somewhere. We have the Earth's Mightiest Heroes Adventures, the Ultimate Character Guide. I picked this for $2 up at a flea market, and I kind of like this kind of reference, even though I know we have the internet. I find a lot of the pages that have information on comics are so laden and burdened with ads that they're almost crippled. I don't block ads because, well, I make money from ads too. It's just that some ads are just so burdensome. So I got this just to be able to flip through it and give it a look, give a read about Marvel Adventures. Then we have The Secret History of Giants. I got that both for myself and for my wife. We have the Haynes Tech Book Welding Manual. Basics of gas, arc, MIG, TIG, and plasma welding and cutting. Because that's the one thing I don't know how to do is weld and cut with the torch. And I need to learn to do that. And hopefully someday I will own my own welding equipment. Because welding is the one thing I don't do. And it would open up a number of avenues to my weapon build creativity. We have The Practical Guide to Dragons from Wizards of the Coast. Swan Sky by Tejima, which I saw. It's a beautiful woodcut, and my wife liked the art, so we bought it real cheap at an estate sale. We have Johnny Carson by Henry Bushkin. I like a good biography, and I haven't read one about Johnny Carson before. And then we have the Pocket Tables, an everyday reference by John O.E. Clark. So this is just a collection of tables and references, and I kind of like that kind of thing. Not to replace the Pocket Reference Guide by Glover, which is the greatest book ever written. On to more media. U-571, a film that I did not have in my collection. Gripping from beginning to end. Then we have Flawless, a heist film with Michael Caine and Demi Moore, a film I'd never heard of, which is kind of amazing. Then we have SpongeBob's Christmas. I like SpongeBob. We have the special collector's edition of the 10 Commandments, which I purchased mostly for the commentary track. I don't really have interest in the film itself a whole lot, but I want to hear what they have to say about its production. And then we have a CD by Katy Perry, and I listened to it once, was stunned at the level of sexism and misogyny and just heteronormative lyrics. It was horrible, and I'm going to get rid of it as soon as this video is over. So there you go. We have 2 napkin holders, which are in the shape of stars, and these are actually handmade. They were cut out of a sheet and hammered, or hammered then cut out of a sheet, because they're not the same size, and they actually have, the edges show that they were actually cut with a bandsaw. So, yeah, I'm just amazed that they made these things by hand, but I'm not going to use them as napkin holders. I don't know what I'm going to use them for, but I happen to love stars. Then we have an 8-quart American-made cast iron Dutch oven. I paid $6 for this at an estate sale, and they normally start at like 50, so it was a good deal. I hope my wife happened to really like that. She thought that was very cool, so we picked it up at an estate sale for $60. Then we have this hanging copper handmade pot, which is a very elaborate wrought iron hanging system. Probably use it as a planter or something. It came with some screws and some very cheap bracket. I'm probably going to keep that in the basement for something, but I have better hooks that I can hang this from, far more decorative. Maybe put an air plant in that, I'm not sure. Then we have 5 brass keys, because I am a sucker for keys, even if they are decorative, and I picked that up for $5, and I thought it was very attractive. I like keys. I like the symbolism. And we have these coasters suck. Bite me! My wife liked the somewhat semi-offensive coasters. And then we have some greeting cards here that says, "Thanks, dude." I got those for my wife because I knew she'd find them humorous. We have a cheap calculator I paid 50 cents for. That's going to go in the shop. We have 2 trivets, cast iron chicken trivets. Probably hang those up on the wall in the kitchen. My wife has told me I'm not allowed to weaponize them. Then we have a sign, "Here There Be Dragons." I'm probably going to hang that up in the stairwell down into the basement. So I think I'm going to put that up. And I picked it up for $2 or something. I really like the graphic on that one. We have some bags of figures. Now I purchased these for like this one was general because it has some figures in here I thought might be interesting as far as miniatures are concerned. This one I believe I got because it had a Yeti-like figure and this squid guy in there. I kind of like those. And there's a double-headed dragon. So these are I thought might be kind of interesting. And then I'll admit, this one I paid $2 for. I just got it for Pokey. I don't think there's anything else in here I want. I may just donate the rest of the bag. But I want Pokey. I have a Gumby, so I needed a Pokey. And for $2, as far as I'm concerned, it's worth it for me to get a Pokey. Here we have an American Eagle tote bag, which I purchased just so I could use it as a gift bag for someone. I'm going to put something in there that's going to be somewhat heavy. And I picked it for $2. Picked it up for $2 at a yard sale. So that's worth it for me to package this thing up so that it's going to be. I can deliver it carefully. I'm going to wash it, make it presentable. It's got a little bit of dirt on it, but yeah, for a gift bag for $2, that's fine. One that they can reuse for something. Then we have a tea towel, which is a map of Orkney, which made me smile. I like interesting tea towels. I like maps. Couldn't go wrong there. We have a sparkly top. We have a frilly top. For those for my wife, and we have a hand-knitted hat also for my wife. Now, we also had 3 other tops that my wife picked up, but they've already been washed and thrown into the rotation, as has a pair of work jeans, which are very boring. They're just jeans. I picked up for $5 at a thrift shop. I think we picked up all of these things for $1 a piece, these items here. And they have also been washed and thrown into the rotation. I love cheap jeans. If I spend $5 for a pair of jeans, I wear them I wear them 5 times. That's $1 a time. You know what I mean? So it's well worth it. Well worth it to me. And we have a wooden tonfa. I didn't actually have a wooden tonfa in my collection, and now I do. I have one made out of black pipe I made myself, but this is an actual wooden one. I'd like to get one made out of polyurethane as well. Or what do they make them out of? Polyurethane, but high impact plastic. Then we have a classic military style flashlight. I actually don't know if it works yet. I picked it up, but I haven't had a chance to put any batteries in it. But I like the colors on that one, as it wasn't the classic OD green. We have another flashlight from Night Eyes. I picked that up for $5 on sale. We have some twine. I bought twine for because we plan on wrapping our bushes outside in burlap come fall, and I needed something to wrap them in. And for $2, that's less than I'm going to pay at the store. I paid $2 for that at an estate sale. I paid $1 for this surface level, which apparently my table was relatively level. How do you like that? which I think will be somewhat useful. Then we have this, which is an entire jar of decorative tacks. My wife has an upholstery project, and she was looking at tacks, and they're actually really expensive. And I paid like $2, $2.50 for this entire jar. So there's a whole lot of tacks in here that I saved a whole lot of money on. And because I didn't know actually if I had a tack hammer, I bought one for my wife at a flea market for $1. So I think it couldn't go wrong there. Even if I do have one, I just give it to her. Here you go, dear. It's yours now. We have a couple of knives. We have a three-bladed camp-style knife. I can't quite read the manufacturer on that, but I like the colors, so I picked that one up. And this is a knife that I spent a little bit more on this than I normally do. I paid $25 for this, but this is a handmade camp knife, kind of in a vaguely Bowie-like shape. So it's very primitive art, outsider art kind of thing, but it made me smile, so I brought it home. And I'll probably be doing a video with more details about this. But the person put some love into it. Even if their skill wasn't the greatest, they put some love into it. And then we have some more grinding discs for my angle grinder. Here's the weird thing. I paid 99 cents a piece for these. I bought 5 of them. And they had a pack of 5, also in the sale, that they wanted $5.99 for. So I paid less than $5 for 5 discs as opposed to paying $6 for 5 discs. They didn't label those well. And now we're in the last section. This is all gear. We have a Craftsman belt sander. This is old school, but paid $4 for it at an estate sale. I love the look. So if I can get 2 or 3 uses out of it, I figure I got my money back. We have some sanding belts for a Craftsman belt sander, which I paid $1 for at a separate sale. So I made out there. This is a router. Now, it appealed to me because it had this really old school switch. It's small. It actually has a bit already in there. I paid, it's got a wheel in here for guiding it, so you can, bearing for making the type of cut you want to make. I paid $1 for this. I actually don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but I love the look, the aesthetic. It's a nice shape, and for $1, I figure maybe I can find some project uses for. And it's a nice size, so maybe I can turn this into some useful handheld tool. We'll find out. We have a tool handle. This is a Mohawk, and made in USA. How do you like that? I didn't know that. I'm going to turn this into a weapons belt. That's what I'm going to do with this thing. But yeah, I paid like $5 for this at a little shop, and it was a nice shape. And for what I want, I like the look as far as like the overall proportions to it. It's a little thinner, a little lighter than I have seen a lot of tool handles. So it kind of fit the design I have in mind. We have this little weird, cute multi-screwdriver. You flip it around. That made me smile when I saw it. I paid like next to nothing for that. And we have an entire box of discs. I got this specifically for this buffing disc. There's 2 buffing discs in here. But there's some sanding discs and things like this, so you can put them into a drill or a drill press and use it for sanding. So I paid this whole thing up for like $3. So that was a good deal. And we have this box of mostly just hooks for studs and things like that. And I can always find a use for this kind of thing, for suspending stuff in the basement in particular, or in the garage. And I paid like $3 or $2 for this box. I found this phone made me smile. I have no idea if I can actually get it to work or not. I don't even know if I have. Where's the charging port? I don't even know if I have a connector for that size anymore. But it made me smile, and I paid like $0.10 for it. So we have a quick connection for bits. So this thing comes down, unlocks, so you can do quick connections. I thought that might be useful. And I need to do something with my drill, and I don't have to worry about it. So essentially using your drill as a bit driver. So I thought that might be handy. And again, I paid about $0.25 for that. This is just an eyeglass case, because the one I have in my car is starting to get old, a little worn. So I take off my street glasses and put them in a hard case in my car, and I keep my safety glasses for work in my car, and I just swap them out whenever I go to and from work. Then we have this wrench which I think was designed for paint cans. And it's weird because it almost looks like it was custom modified. I can't quite tell. But I'm going to buff it up and bring it back to a little bit of life to get some of this rust off of it. And my wife's going to use it for opening beer. Just for fun. I think I paid $1 for it. But I like the shape and the proportions. And then we have these two things. Now, I got this because I saw this and I'm going, that's a weapon, because your hand comes through here, you grab this grip, and this rests across your forearm, and you were going to get a huge amount of strength for either digging or clawing. And it also, I bought both of these, this set here, this shovel, this spade, and this trowel for, or either a trowel and a fork for $1. And my wife said she can actually use it for real in the garden. So it's both the potential weapon build for me and a tool that my wife can use for $1 investment. So I couldn't go wrong there. So yeah, so I got some new stuff for my shop and some potential new tools, weapon build stuff. So yeah, I'm happy with this. This was a really nice bargain video, and this is probably way too long, and I apologize. But I do love to hunt a bargain.